Jai sir.
Right here.
Thank you, sir.
Good. You studied engineering, chemical engineering
Yes, sir.
in IIT Delhi.
Yes, sir.
This was you completed in 2015.
Yes, sir.
Uske baad, what all you did after 2000?
Sir, after that I worked in Japan for about 1 year, and then I came back to India for preparation. And since December last year, I'm doing my training at NPA.
So it's about 3 months that you have completed.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good, very good. One of your hobbies is assisting your parents.
Yes, sir.
Agriculture.
Yes, sir.
Hai na?
Yes, sir.
Where is this land of your family? How far away from Gorakhpur?
Sir, it's in Gorakhpur only. Where my home is, it's in a village, so the land is also there, sir.
What is the name of the village? How far from Gorakhpur?
Mohanapur, sir. It's in Gorakhpur, sir.
So it's a mohalla in
It's in Gorakhpur district, sir.
district. From the city. How far is it? From Gorakhpur city.
Yes, sir.
Your agricultural land, that's what it is.
About 4 kilometers, sir. Not that far, sir.
But your house is in the village Mohanapur.
In the same village, the farmland is also there, sir.
So the land is about how many kilometers from your home?
Sir, it's besides my home, sir.
Oh, very good. What is the extent of land?
Sir, it's about point.
Oh, hectare, acre, square yards. What is
Sir,
that?
in Bigha, it would be about 2 Bigha, sir.
How much
Yes,
is
sir.
each bigha? It's less than a cent.
5 cents or something. Piece of bigger.
That's about 200 square yards.
Yes, sir.
What do you grow in that?
Sir, in paddy season we grow paddy, and in wheat season we grow wheat. But aside from wheat, there is some area for vegetables, sir. So this November I was at home. So in November time we sow coriander, and then there was carrot and radish.
In that small plot of land.
In that small plot.
Or have you taken on these some other land adjacent to your land?
Sir, same land, but that is not for commercial purposes. That vegetable is for us, sir. So
Which are for your consumption.
for own
Family.
consumption. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Very good. So you are the only person perhaps who spent about a year in Japan from among the several lakhs of people living in Gorakhpur district.
Probably, sir.
And you even learnt a very difficult language, Japanese language.
Yes, sir.
From what you learned, is it written vertically or horizontally?
Sir, traditionally it was written vertically, but nowadays they write it horizontally, sir.
So when you learned the horizontal wala sikhe ya?
It's a horizontal. Sir, I learned all the 3 scripts, katakana, hiragana and kanji. So when they write only mostly using kanji, then they try to write in vertical. But nowadays they are using the modern way.
But you can read both scripts. Supposing there is some board.
Yes, sir.
There is the vertical one as well as the horizontal one. आप दोनों पढ़ सकते हैं.
Yes, sir. Sir, for example, if I write Vivek, so I write Viveka or write Viveka. So it's the same thing. It's the same thing, sir.
You would have seen the city government managing the waste in the city in Japan where you worked.
Sir,
The city waste.
Solid waste.
Solid waste from the city.
sir, I haven't seen the centralized administration of the
Do you
management.
know the technology being used for waste collection and management ultimately in Japan?
Sir, I know at the personal level. So at personal level, we have to separate all the garbage in different. Even the, for example, the water bottles, the cap has to go in a different bin. The label will be going in different bin, and the plastic will be going in the different bin. The PET things. Sir.
What good practices can our city governments learn from the city governments of Japan for better managing the cities?
Sir, with reference to waste management, or
All good governance.
Whatever you observe.
Good governance measures.
So firstly, public transport. Public transport is actually very good there. And not the big transports like metro, even the buses are very good there, sir. Then coming to, sir, services which are provided. So they are very timely, and they are in a very organized manner, sir. Then definitely, sir, waste management we can learn a lot. So in waste management, a lot of emphasis is given on the individual, or at least the residential societies.
But as a chemical engineer,
Yes, sir.
have you got any opportunity to understand how liquid waste from pharmaceutical industries is dealt with in India, in whichever city that you have exposure to?
I'm sorry, sir. Liquid waste.
Effluents treated. You are a chemical engineer.
Sir, I know the methods, but I haven't personally seen it.
You haven't seen it.
So usually there are primary, secondary, and tertiary levels of effluent treatment of liquid waste.
What is an off-site contingency plan and an on-site contingency plan in the context of a chemical industry?
I'm sorry, sir.
When accidents take place,
Yes, sir.
what kind of standard operating procedures you have to manage accidents in a chemical industry? Did you ever learn about it?
No, sir. We did learn about safety procedures in the factory I was working. But there was no particular reference
And
to
the effect
accident.
of the accident spreads beyond the factory.
Yes, sir.
To the town in
Yes,
in a
sir.
major accident. You are not exposed to how to deal with it.
No, sir. I haven't done any training of that sort, sir.
Now, what is the effect of COVID on Japan and other Asian countries, and what will happen to Indian economy in days to go?
So, as it happened with China, due to the fear of the virus, of the disease, a lot of people stopped going to work, and a lot of companies also shut down. So the economic impact is definitely very severe, sir.
In Japan?
You mean in Japan or India?
In China it already happened, sir, but if it comes to India, the similar kind of catastrophe can happen in India as
But
well.
what do you foresee if it continues in China for some more months or weeks? Will it have any effect, short-term effect or long-term impact on Indian economy?
So there could be a positive and negative impact. Positive in the sense that we have, this could be an opportunity, because China is sort of a manufacturer for the world, and we could take that place. But the negative impact is that a lot of our components, even for, say, for pharmaceutical industry, the active pharmaceutical ingredients, they come from China. So the company shutting in China can affect our businesses, sir. So in that sense, there could be a negative impact, sir.
What is the difference between an executive magistrate and a judicial magistrate?
Sir, a judicial magistrate who works in the courts, and executive magistrate is a part of the executive, sir. So the executive magistrate were non-commissionate systems. They have powers regarding law and order control, sir.
Have you heard of the PMC Bank controversy?
Sir, I've heard of the controversy, but I haven't
You know the
got.
details?
I don't know the details, sir.
Do you know anything about the crisis that the telecom sector is facing today in India?
Sir, it is going through low profitability, and in addition to that, they have to pay some extra amount in terms of taxes. But I have to look for the details, sir.
Adjusted gross revenue.
Yes, sir.
It's not a tax.
Sir.
It's part of the agreement. They ought to have paid 13 years ago onwards. But they disputed it and went up to right Supreme Court. Eventually, Supreme Court said the government's interpretation of what constitutes adjusted gross revenue
Yes, sir.
is correct. Therefore, with arrears, they have to pay. It's a big amount.
Finally, from me, when you go to your village, you find some two groups fighting over a piece of land.
Yes, sir.
And somebody says there's a court order staying all the proceedings on the land. And there's a big fight going on. So whom will you tell what to do to ensure that the fight doesn't take place?
So if I can be, if the matter is that grave, and if I can, I would be physically present there and ensure through my subordinates, say the constables or the inspector, that the peace is maintained until the court orders come to whom the land belongs. Till then, the peace should be maintained, sir.
Have you heard of a provision called a section called 145 CRPC? Do you know CRPC?
Sir, it's still going on, sir.
Still going on.
Still going on. 145 तक आ गए?
नहीं sir, 145 में नहीं है.
What makes you think a chemical engineer can make a good civil administrator here? And don't give me bookish answers, analytical skills and all that. On ground, बताओ भैया.
So the things we have.
Doesn't matter. You are qualified as a chemical engineer, worked for something for somewhere, landed up in this. So qualification and your career path has got nothing to do. Chemical engineer, IAS. चक्कर क्या है?
So the things we learn in chemical engineering can have some specific utilization during civil administration. For example, sir was talking about waste management. It's one of the things, sir. And the pollution control and all those stuff coming from the chemical industries in the district, sir. There we can have a specific use of chemical engineering. Otherwise, sir, I can't say that I can replicate my knowledge of chemical engineering as such in the civil administration, sir.
You have been leading a very dull life, in spite of the long list of what you know. Don't play any games here.
Sir, there's a recent hobby, horse riding I've started, sir. I wouldn't consider that as dull, sir.
Can I suggest something? This horse riding, आपने जबरदस्ती ठूस दिया. Because I'll ask question, what is the difference between a canter, gallop, trot, show jumping?
Sir.
Because I've also done horse riding.
We all did in Masuri.
No, sir, that a relative of mine has a horse. So when last year I was in Gorakhpur, then I sat on the horse. I rode I think 4 or 5 times. Then I enjoyed it, and I think I can continue it as a hobby, sir. That's why I put it, sir.
NPA में अभी शुरू नहीं हुआ horse riding?
NP में sir we had just one introductory class.
Sorry.
Yes, sir. The team was actually out for some competition. They just came. So.
Is it still included in the syllabus?
It is, sir. It is.
You have to pass that exam?
Yes, sir. We have to pass the exam.
Right. Now let us discuss Indo-Pak relations.
Yes, sir.
Right. Pakistan is happy that it has sorted it out right and proper by sending non-state actors create trouble in J&K. India is also saying, look, we are now hit back also, Pulwama retaliation, and we have taught Pakistan a lesson. Pakistan says we have internationalized the issue. That was their goal anyway. They did everything to bring it in world's notice. And India has now come to the point of saying, though it is not an international issue, we have invited delegations to come and parliamentarians and all to visit J&K. So what is the status of relations between the two and what is the way forward?
So the relation is as tense as you are describing. The way forward is that when Pakistan is using its terrorists to destabilize India, we can't show the world, we can't have a normal relation. We can't show the world that since we are the largest target of Pakistan, we can't show the world that look, we have a normal relation. So the policy which we are following is I think is correct, sir. A policy of isolation of Pakistan, sir. Bilateral relation at bilateral level as well as international level, sir.
It is having one world superpower as its ally.
Sir, some isolation is coming, say, in the terms of Financial Action Task Force, which had their meeting recently, in which Pakistan was given time to reform itself.
Diplomatic options, economic options, military options.
So since our bilateral economy is bilateral trade is not that much with Pakistan, so we can't say that our using bilateral trade we can affect Pakistan that much. But we should keep open our diplomatic and military options, sir. So for example, that Balakota strike was a preemptive strike. Such options should be open, sir.
Okay, right. Yeah.
You are already in police service.
Yes, sir.
Undergoing training. I'm sure you must have come across the term called custodial deaths.
Yes, sir.
Why I keep seeing in newspapers, there is a rise in this kind of incidents. So what do you attribute this trend?
So the rising trend, I can say that is due to more reporting, sir.
Oh, I see.
I can't say that there were no custodial deaths earlier, sir.
Okay. Uh-huh. So, I mean, why are they happening at all in the first place? Do the police have a license to kill people when they are in custody?
Oh, definitely not, sir. Sir, one basic problem is with the way our police administration is working, the kind of political control it is under. And the second thing is that investigation part is not that efficient. So often the police has to resort to the torturous way, which may result into custodial death, sir.
They have to result.
Sir, they can result, sir. If our
Have to resort to torture.
if their investigation skill is good, sir, they don't have to, sir.
They don't. So
If confession is-
the problem, where lies the problem?
The torture itself is an offense.
Yes, sir.
There is the danger of the police officer getting imprisoned.
Definitely, sir.
So where lies the problem?
So the way our police administration is designed and the lacking investigation skills, sir.
What remedy can you suggest?
So making police administration more independent and imparting more skills regarding investigation, sir.
Okay. Is there a case for keeping police administration independent of political control? Can we give it some kind of a statutory status, some kind of immunity, some insulation from political interference? Is there a case? Or should they be part of the executive and
Sir,
I hope you understood the question.
sir, by case, what do you mean, sir?
Now, is there a case? Can you make out a case that police should be totally immune from the present influence which is being exerted on the force
By the ruling party.
by the ruling party? Is there a case?
Sir, definitely police should have those kind of independence where they are not influenced by the political party. But as an executive, as the entire executive is under the control of elected representative, we can't say that we can keep it entirely out of control of elected representatives, sir.
So police can't be treated as an independent agency and which can be insulated against political interference. It's not possible.
Sir, I don't think so, sir.
You don't.
Even military is under our civil control, sir. So we can't.
That is only to a limited extent.
Yes,
Or whether to wage a war or not. How the military does its job is entirely left to the chief of the army staff. No minister interferes with it.
Anyway, I also see and quite sometimes feel concerned about the fact that officers and as a potential public servant you are now aspiring to become an IAS officer. Quite a few IAS officers, including chief secretaries, are often being called to the court in contempt of court cases. Why is it happening?
Sometimes when court passes an order that this work has to be done, has to be completed in this month time, and if that doesn't happen, court calls the officer in contempt.
Yeah, that's what
But
exactly that causes this contempt.
Sometimes there is constraint with that particular officer.
What
That
prevents the executive from implementing the court's order? I'm trying to find out. Why this kind of a situation arises where the chief secretary, leaving aside all his duties, go and stand before the judge, pleading not guilty. Why does it happen? Is it something to do with the bureaucratic system, or is it something of individual aberration or individual eccentricity?
So since overall responsibility lies with that particular department, so that particular chief secretary has to take the responsibility.
And is it lack of awareness of, the impact of a court order? What is principles of natural justice, by the way?
Sir, no person should be punished without a hearing, and nobody should be the judge in his own case, sir.
Now, you see, the Supreme Court has also been saying of late that, for SCs and STs, there is no right of reservation in promotions.
Sir.
How should we understand that judgment?
Sir, a reservation in promotion is given by the state under section Article 16, but that is not a right among the fundamental. That is an exception to the fundamental right of equality, but that itself is not a right, sir.
So, the hue and cry raised by the various organizations like SCST organizations and all that, is it not opposed to what the decision of the Supreme Court that has been delivered?
Sir, in this regard, there was a lot of discussion when when last year also the judgment was in, the hearing was going on. So my concern is that there has been no research, no study that how that reservation in promotion has impacted, and why there is a need of, why there is a case for reservation in promotion. So first there should be an independent research or independent study as to why we need the reservation in promotion, and if we need, then we should have.
But what is the fundamental presumption or premise on which reservations are based?
So there is no proportionate representation in the. Yes, sir. So, for example,
adequacy principle.
Yes, sir.
Adequate representation.
Adequate representation is not there, sir.
Now, I am sure you have followed the elections also.
So I have seen bits here and there.
No, I am not going to ask how many votes are more or anything, don't bother.
Yes, sir.
But it has thrown up a couple of issues to the forefront in the political spectrum. Now, some people say it is because of performance, but some people say it is because of the freebies that Kejriwal has given. So, what is your view on that? Your analysis of Delhi poll outcome?
Sir, a lot of people, even when I was preparing in Delhi, when I'm talking to the cab driver, auto driver, they're actually very happy with the school reforms which Kejriwal has taken, which Mr. Kejriwal has taken. So they are of the view that since my mother and father could not give me that kind of education, now I can, with the same kind of income, provide that good education to my kid. That performance of the work, I think, had a very positive impact. In addition to that, the promises of free electricity and free water definitely must have added to the win, sir.
Good. This is the end of the mock interview.
Sir.
You've taken more or less 27 minutes. The UPSC also takes about 25 minutes.
Yes, sir.
You're very good. You're pleasant. You're cheerful. You're confident. Very good communication skills.
Thank you, sir.
And you're well informed. I find nothing wrong with you. So when is the interview?
Sir, April 3, sir.
Oh, last day.
Last day afternoon, sir. The last day, last session, sir.
Let's hope you will get a favorable I would say assessment
Yes, sir.
from the board. The rest of the board members will tell you what are your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree with the chairman. These days, the candidates are expected to know about the job even before joining. Some of the questions in written exam and interview are based on what you are expected to do after you get into IAS or IPS. So therefore, you are expected to understand certain fundamental concepts. And being in police, you are expected to know who is an executive magistrate, who is a judicial magistrate. Of course, in a lighter vein, you said judicial magistrate sits in a court. But in the same tone, executive magistrate has to sit in a court. It may be a revenue court, it may be an executive magistrate
Not
court.
necessarily in the same building.
Yeah.
Wherever he sits, that will be the court.
The executive magistrate is basically SDM or someone who handles matters before the crime is committed. You said law and order, that's broadly the answer, but specifically you have to, as a police officer, you are expected to preventive sections of the CRPC are handled by executive, besides revenue laws. And the other one is you seem to be complacent, masti mein hai. You worked in Japan, you are happy, you are in IPS, you are happy, it's not going to go anywhere.
Sure.
You stopped keeping your eyes and ears wide open about what is happening in the country. So you will have to, from now till your interview date, go through newspapers thoroughly, understand broadly what is happening. Like you are not able to, connect to PMC case or, communications, telecom companies.
Punjab and Maharashtra,
Bank.
cooperative open bank.
Yes, sir.
So less papers, generally that's good enough. And you don't have to struggle, but tighten your belt.
I know, sir.
I think that will take
Yes,
you
sir.
good step. All the best.
You're okay, you're cool, calm. You can see the lighter side of things. You can smile once in a while. But as I said, there's a very thin line between saying informal, casualness, and the word which you use, complacent. Nobody can really define now the differences between the three, but that depends upon how the board receives it, not what you want them to, right? Please brush up your domain. You do require to revisit your this thing, because a lot of questions are asked on your domain.
Yes, sir.
And brush up on the general.
Chemical engineering.
Yeah.
Your domain is. But the job you did in Japan has nothing to do with chemical.
So that was chemical engineering, sir. It was a food and beverage company, sir.
Okay.
So it was a core job, sir.
So when I asked you about the good practices to be, emulated by organizations, city governments in India, you should have taken me into your fold and talked about waste management in your company and how it is done in Indian companies. That's how you take the interviewers into your area of strength.
Okay.
You said, no, I don't know, I don't have first-hand experience.
Sir-
You talked about only public transport.
Yes, sir.
But your area of strength is your own company where you're working as a chemical engineer. Domain knowledge is there. Now tell me.
Sir, actually, the factory where I was working, in Kyoto, it is mandatory for the factory to hand over the waste to the city administration. So we were just sending our waste to the city administration. There was no waste management.
So here
That is
also,
solid wala. Liquid wala,
Sir, liquid and solid both, sir.
you hand it over.
but you don't
It
you
is- it is-
pre-treat- don't you pre-treat and hand over?
Yeah, pre-treatment is there, sir.
So you will have to take us into your fold. That's it.
Okay, sir.
So by and large, I concur with what others have said, except that you have to slightly brush up your current affairs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And some of those answers I find very commonplace. Like you said, I spoke to cabwala and things like that. That somehow shows some casualness about the question and your quality of the response. You can't base your answers based on your interviews with cabwala. A journalist can do that, but certainly not an aspirant for civil services.
Sir, I only put that point just to bring the common touch, sir.
I know. But
But I'll definitely consider it.
yeah, avoid it if you can. I was talking to a cabwala and things like that. But otherwise, fine.
Yes, but I do need to brush up, sir, because in the last 2.5 months, I can't blame entirely on the training, but sir.
Probably he's tied up with his own training and all that, riding horses.
But sir, that is no excuse. Yes.
They don't give much of time.
Oh, that's the
Their day starts at 5 a.m. They're tired physically, they're not used to so much.
So the morning we had extra firing schedule. Last week we had 6 days of firing, and in the morning, today morning.
Will be like that only.
Yeah, but we enjoyed it, I guess.
No, that shows, actually it shows on your face also that you are enjoying, you are staying in
The government schools,
Yes, sir.
the improvement in infrastructure as well as quality of education and the parent teachers committees, etc. These are important things. They are lessons to be emulated by the entire country.
Yes, sir.
and the so-called happy hour syllabus,
Yes, sir.
things like that,
Happiness classes, sir.
happiness.
And also public health also, preventive aspect,
Yes, sir.
Mohalla clinics. There are some, it has made an impact. Anything you want to ask?
Sir, there are a lot many questions I think would be asked from IPS.
So that is the unfortunate thing.
Yes, sir.
See, you are in the beginning of your law classes and things like that. The assumption will be that you already know CRPC, you
Yes,
already
sir.
know IBC, you already know everything that is required, which is not true. That takes several years.
Yes, sir.
By the time you really come to even have 10% of the knowledge, it will be 5 years. So unless you do 2-3 districts,
Yes, sir.
you won't get to know the depth. But that's the reality. So expectations are different. To the extent possible, you answer. Otherwise, you say, I'm just a third month, sir. Most of the concentration has been on the drill, physical training, etc. Or law
Yes, sir.
classes have just started. You can sort of justify. Anything else?
But in our 3 months of foundation course, we were taught IPC, CRPC and Evidence Act. So you have completed 3 months, therefore I
Have you done
just
your foundation course?
No, sir, I haven't done foundation
Okay, you
course.
did that.
So I did appear for the mains. So that's why I took exemption from the foundation course, sir.
So your being in government is only just full 3 months.
Yes, sir.
You don't know really many things.
Yes, sir.
You must draw more questions from your Japanese experience. You must drag them into that.
That's your strong point.
Yes.
Yes.
Anything else?
So no, sir.
Okay then, all the best. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Jai